Welcome to another episode of the Advice First podcast. This is your host, Robert Clark. Today I'm joined by two incredible individuals. We're starting a theme. We kind of have the co-host theme going on. Last episode we had Jerry Citarella inviting a guest, Bree King, phenomenal episode there. And today we're going to keep that train going. We have co-host Christopher Ingram, CEO and founder of Prosperitas Financial, our team here, and one of our star advisors, Miss Jennifer Brown. Welcome to the Advice First podcast. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robert.
It's a real pleasure. Don't thank me. I thank both of you for being here because I know without a doubt I'm going to learn something today. Yeah.
He probably will, actually.
Yeah.
Probably will. I'm going to teach you both how to make sure you're talking into the mic and it's nice and up close. You're going to teach me about money and improving finances or financial planning. I saw some of the topics that we're going to cover today, and I'm very excited. Chris, I'm basically going to lob this your way. I mean, you've been in this business. I don't know. Who's been in this business longer between the two of you?
26 years.
Jennifer?
Almost 20.
Almost 20. Okay, so Chris has been in the business longer.
Yeah. That's why he has less hair.
That's
you got it.
A lot less hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot less hair, yeah.
Just an extra 6 years will do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Careful.
I'm worried. I'm very worried.
Chris, you should probably retire sooner than later.
I'm working on it.
Excellent. Chris, help us set the stage. I mean, everyone's talking about a political year. There's a lot of things related to finance topics kind of swirling the media. As we've talked about on a previous episode before, what brought you on the podcast today?
Well, right now what I want to do is a series of podcasts with you, and we've been talking about it, and start introducing you to some of the incredible people we have here at Prosperitas Financial, some of the advisors, some of the staff, some of the strategic partners that we work with. And I think they have a lot to share, and just getting them on the podcast and giving them an outlet to be able to share some of their wisdom, some of their experience in the business. Really, these episodes are less about me and more about me introducing the people that are on my team. And that's why we're here today. My opportunity to bring Jen Brown, who's a phenomenal advisor, has been in the business just about 20 years now, and is just, a great member of the team. And I think she has a lot to share with people. So giving her an outlet to be able to do that.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Jennifer, tell us, how did you get started in this business?
Well, I'm from Long Island, New York, and when you live in Long Island, New York, most of the people that you know work in the city. And my grandfather actually worked in a small financial firm in the city. He was not a financial advisor. He worked the backside of things, the wirehouse part, because he couldn't sell anything to anybody. But he was a sweet guy, and I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I was with silver stock. I actually was born with, when I was born, my grandfather would give us some shares of stock, and we would receive dividends of 3 cents here and there, and it was kind of exciting to know that you had something. And then I came out here to California, where I met my beautiful wife, and I have a 27-year-old stepson and a 2.5-year-old son and a little mini Labradoodle named Murphy Brown, and because I wanted her to be a strong woman. And but because of having that background of having dividends and knowing stocks, I used to just play around online on the computer and look up stock symbols. And I would suggest to my mom, hey, you should buy this stock and this stock, because I was fascinated by it.
That's so cool. Wow. And then so at what point did you start to realize, like, hey, this is kind of fun. I kind of want to do this. Can I help other people with this?
Yeah, I came out here actually to California to be in the entertainment industry, and realized that the gig life wasn't for me, and I wanted to have a little bit more of sustainability in my life. And I always had in the back of my head, being a stockbroker. Not that I knew what a stockbroker was necessarily, except for my grandfather and his firm. And believe me, I knew nothing about it except that I had dividends that came to me. But from that, I was always intrigued and thought I would be good at it. So I found a path.
Dang, I love that. That is so cool. Do you have a question?
Where'd you start?
I started in Beverly Hills at Morgan Stanley.
Okay.
Was my first job, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about that, but yeah, I forgot where you actually planted your feet for the first time.
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley.
Not too bad, not too shabby, starting out in the Beverly Hills office.
Yeah.
It was always something fun to say, of course.
Right, of course. Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was there actually not that long because my manager left and he moved over to Merrill Lynch, and he invited me to come with him. So I was young in the business, and I really liked him, and so I followed him to Merrill Lynch. So on and so forth.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, I will not answer that question.
Okay, perfect. How old are you now then?
People can't do math, so you're good. Just throw it out there.
I can't even remember. So
I mean,
I would have to do the math.
Yeah.
And I have a math job.
I'm just sitting here thinking it's such a male-dominated industry, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I can't imagine at that time it was any easier.
Right.
Harder, really.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first got in the business, there were women in the business, so it wasn't that bad. You go back further than when I started, there was really very few women that were in the business. But even when I started in the business, it was relatively rare that you had a woman in the business. That's changed. That's gotten much better over the years, and good for the industry that way. But it's still probably a bit of a challenge, right? Or would you see it as an advantage that you have over guys like Robert and I?
Well, I mean, it's a little different because when I first started out, it was very misogynistic. As a female financial advisor, I certainly had to play with the boys' club and hang out with them, but I didn't get the advantages they had. Like, I was never invited to the golf games because I was a woman. So you would have that. You would have certain mentalities would talk to you a different way as a woman, but when we started out, there was less women, and they would only be geared towards, let's say, senior women who are retiring or divorcees or whatever it is. And that is an important group to work with, but every group is important to work with, and to make sure that you can cross over the barriers of actually having men as your clients as well as women. That probably took a lot longer for the female financial advisors, but I looked it up, and female financial advisors make up about 30% of financial advisors right now. And actually, if you look at the documentation on it, we do better for our clients than the male counterparts. And it's because a lot of. And thank God, let me just tell you really quickly, the mindset that Chris has for Prosperitas Financial is exactly the successful reason why women do better is because we plan more, as opposed to counterparts. A lot of times they want to just get the client in, invest the money, and move on and get the next client. And that sounds wonderful as you're building your book of business, but it's not sustainability. Your clients aren't necessarily going to trust you. And as a female, I'm listening to both the male and female that I'm meeting with, and understanding who they are, what their needs are, what their fears are. Because if they're going to bed at night and they're still worried about money when they're working with me, we have a problem and we need to fix that problem. And so it's a deeper psychological, it's almost like being a therapist. It's a financial therapist is what you are. And it's not always about what you're investing in, what the yield is going to create. It's really about making sure people are sticking with the plan and also feeling comfortable with the plan.
Absolutely. Yep.
Gosh.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So did you go to college for psychology?
No, theater, actually. So, and it's interesting. What I say is everybody has a story, and that's what theater is. So if you listen to the people around you and what they're saying and what their needs are and wants and goals are, that's really the important thing. So with theater, I learned to listen.
I like it.
Yeah.
It probably also lends to I mean, like you were saying, women wanting to work with men and women as clients, right? But there's got to be a lot of women that feel more comfortable working with another woman, right? And that's probably a thing to some degree. And would you say that over the years, go back 20, 30 years ago, right? Maybe women weren't as involved in the finances, and that has changed over the years. And so that lends to more women taking control of their finances or the family finances, and then wanting to work with another woman that they feel comfortable with helps with that.
I wouldn't say women didn't take care of the finances. Most of the time, if you would see, women took care of the finances. The men made the decisions out in the world with those finances.
Got it.
So it's kind of interesting that way. But it's really, I would say, if you have a couple and it's not a single person, if you have a couple, it's always one person who deals with it. It could be the male, it could be the female, but you always have to know who's really pulling the strings, saying where the money should go, how the money should be handled. It's not necessarily the person who's paying those bills. It's so you really have to know who has more emotion towards the money, and that's really what it comes down to. Money is very, very emotional, and people just think it's cut and dry, and it's absolutely the complete opposite.
How did you slowly build this skill set of, one, recognizing it, but then two, being able to talk and consult couples through it?
Well, when you start to listen to people and you hear their stories, I'll listen to clients that may have millions of dollars, but and they have a lot of fears towards losing the money. Most people say, I want the most amount of reward, but no risk. Okay, so that's first that we deal with, and then we have to explain the risk reward. Basically, tier that we have to go through and what's important to them. But it's hearing the people who are so afraid to move forward. The action step is the hardest part for people. Once they're with a financial advisor and they understand the plan, it's so much. It's like this shield, this armor that they have on, this protective layer goes away. But until they know that, until they experience it, they sometimes they can be very stressed and very tense. And if you recognize that and you can understand why that is, and help them towards understanding that no, you're actually harming yourself, not helping yourself, and this is how we can do it in a healthy environment for you. So.
Side note, and I think this is kind of like a behind the scenes. Are you using Right Capital to illustrate a lot of these plans?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And are clients enjoying that process and kind of what you show them?
Yes, they do like it. And what I like about Right Capital is it doesn't always have to be an overwhelming plan that you give everybody all at once and saying, you need to see these 40 pages. Sometimes I'll just pull out a couple of pages and I'll show them what's important to them and what goals that they're seeking at the moment.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm sure that resonates for them.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you show them like the percentage thing or are they looking at like the assets?
They're not typically looking at the assets. They're looking at the full plan of, all right, so let's talk about financial planning really quickly. The biggest thing is debt, okay? A lot of people, have all this debt. Santa Clarita has a huge amount of debt inside it. And so they're trying to catch up all the time. So we have to first deal with the debt. We have to create the plan inside that. And so from there, we will go and we'll show them the different what their needs are, what their goals are, and just really show them the arc of what will happen if you plan properly. I always say, once we create that percentage that you have to invest in the accumulation phase of your life, I don't care what you do with the rest of your money. I don't care if you roll around it on your mattress, you burn it up, you go do all the fun things that you want to do. I want you to enjoy life. That's the most important thing. But I want you to enjoy life and not be stressed that, oh my gosh, I spent all that money and now I can't. How do I pay for that because I have too much debt that I've created? or I haven't saved anything because I've lived this life of quote unquote luxury. So there's that balance in there. But again, if we set it and not forget it when it comes to what we're doing with the money, but forget how much money we're putting in and let's let it happen, let it flow through. Everything else is just a bonus to them and they get to enjoy life. And in the meantime, we're making that plan for them.
It's probably a breath of fresh air for them.
Yes, but also very scary because, we all are living for the now. And I'll tell you, when you're younger, and you have a young family, as you know, it's hard. People are trying to either, maintain a house, buy a house, raise children in LA, possibly, if you're dealing with nursery school, you're paying for that, preschool, if they're going to private school. So there's a lot on your plate while you're supposed to be saving for your retirement. And so it becomes overwhelming that a lot of people just ignore it. And that's the worst thing they can do, because even if it can't be the full amount that they want to put in today, it's still better than not doing anything at all. But fear stops so many things from happening, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think people just get so caught up in chasing their tail, trying to figure out how they're going to manage the day to day, that stopping and looking at the future is a very difficult thing to do on their own. And that's what I think good financial advisors like yourself do, is slow it down, give them a space to be able to really analyze not only where they are currently, but where they want to be in the future. What are those goals? And then try to put a plan in place that they can start slowing things down and looking out to the future and not get caught up so much in that hamster wheel and that rat race that they're on. And I don't think a lot of people are capable of doing that without the help of somebody who kind of guides them through the process, kind of like you're almost like a spiritual guide, right? You guide them through how to get from point A to point B. Otherwise, they just stay on that hamster wheel nonstop, and they never get to the place where they can actually put a plan together and get off that wheel.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what would you say, I'm curious, through the years, 20 years of working with clients, what's one of the greatest pieces of advice you've given to a client, or something that you might find that you consistently are telling clients that you feel like really resonates with them and is something that they're able to take and really use to improve their financial situation moving forward?
Well, first of all, before that second half, I think it's the noise. Stop listening to the noise. There's so much noise out there from the media, from your friends, your family members. Everybody knows best. Everybody knows best, but
Right.
Nobody knows your situation. And it's like when they listen to some famous people. I'm not going to say names. Famous people online who tell you
can
to
say
buy
names.
and
Go ahead,
sell.
throw some names out
Kramer,
there.
for example.
There you go. Yeah.
Well,
let's
I'm
do it.
putting this in my trust. Well, when are you putting in your trust? When you're taking it out of your trust?
Right.
We don't have all that information. So he might tell you to buy, but he bought a year and a half ago, and now it's jumped 20 points.
Right. And
So is it the right time to get in? He might be getting out next week. We don't know. We don't know his circumstance. And so the noise that's all around us telling us what to do, and everybody always has the best idea, and you really need to have a professional advisor to talk to you about it, because I don't know how many times I hear about, oh, what do you think of this stock? I don't look. I guess I look at stocks, but I don't go, oh, let's talk about this one and only stock. No, I balance a portfolio. We take care of our clients as a whole, and it's where I still have clients sometimes saying, my son did this and he heard about this. What do you think of that? And that's great, but why would you take on a 99% risk stock? If that stock is 99% risk and you're 74 years old, maybe that's not the right stock for your portfolio. So we really have to balance that, and also set expectations for them that are right for that's right for them, and not for what somebody else is doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have our quarterly webinars coming up here soon, and one of the things I've been trying to put together is all the different noise from last year. You think about all the people from the end of 2022 all the way through 2023 that said, we're going into a recession, the market's going down, get out, move to cash, all these, big high profile people on TV that were sitting on large amounts of cash, and they missed out not only on a great market last year, but they also, got the call wrong, right? No recession, right? We find that out now. But all the clients that unfortunately listened, all the people out there that took it to heart and actually moved to cash and didn't participate in the market, those opportunities, they only come around so often, and they missed out by listening to that noise. And then to your point, getting so hung up on this investment or that investment, or my friend did this. I mean, going back to the plan, that's why we plan. We understand. I always say, our portfolios, we're trying to create a somewhat, as much as possible, predictable rate of return for the long haul. So if we put together a plan for a client, we say, hey, if you achieve roughly an 8% rate of return over the next 20 years, you're going to be able to accomplish your goals. So we want to build a portfolio that's going to get us as close to that target in a predictable manner, so that those people can accomplish their goals and do what they want to do with their life and live happily ever after, right? We are not chasing 20% returns or 50% returns or what is Bitcoin doing today. We want to create a predictable stream so that they can get to those important things in their life and the goals that they have for the future. And people don't understand that. They get caught up in trying to one-up their friend next door who, he made 20% last year. I want to make 21%, right?
But he doesn't tell you about the year before where he lost it all.
Right.
And, that's the funny thing about it. People will always tell you their successes. I've always heard this. Oh, my financial advisor lost me, blah, 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 blah. I made blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And they always want to take credit for when it's a success, but it's somebody else's fault when it's a failure.
Absolutely.
Now, we're not talking about successes and failures in these ups and down markets. We're talking about consistency. We're talking about making sure that we have safety. And again, what's so important for people to know is when you're younger and the market is tanking, that is awesome when you're putting money into the market because you want to sell. Why is it that you always want the market to go up, but when you go to the store and you want to buy, let's say, a pair of shoes, you don't go, hey, can I pay 20% more for those shoes because I think they're worth it? No, you're like, oh, they're 20% off. Awesome. But for some reason, it's this psychological thing about the market that it has to go up, up, up. I always say to clients that if I had a magic wand, I would keep every share at $1 a share until you're ready for retirement. Then I'll swing that wand around and bling, now it's $100 or $1,000 a share at retirement, and you have that. It doesn't work that way, but if you're consistently putting money into your accounts and you're letting it grow, you're getting some of those down cycles, some of those up cycles, but it's great when you can buy at a discount for sure.
Well, the problem is that every time the market goes down, everybody thinks it's going to continue forever. Right? In every situation, the market goes down and it's just going to continue going down. Or they're so busy trying to find the bottom of it, right? Mm-hmm. And I always say, if market's already down 30, 35, 40%, whatever it may be, big, deep pullback, even if you're not right at the bottom, you're still close enough to the bottom, and it's still a great buying opportunity that when it eventually turns and goes the other direction, you're going to make a lot of money on that rebound. So it's still a great opportunity, but people are so busy trying to find the perfect day and the bottom, or they're so worried that it's going to continue to go down, and yet every single pullback we've ever had in the market has a rebound that follows. The beauty of the stock market, right? It has 100% track record of recovering from every pullback that's ever happened. So I'm like you. I literally sit around and hoard cash on the side looking for, when is the next big pullback? Because those are the greatest opportunities ever to be able to put money into the market. But people do the exact opposite. They wait till the market is at all-time highs,
and then they invest.
And they're like, oh, my buddy's making so much money right now. I'm like, get me in. And everybody gets more aggressive at the top, more conservative at the bottom. Yeah. If everybody could just change their thinking to the opposite, everybody would be more successful investing. Well, it's just a hard thing to do. You have to be able to stomach it.
And when I get the clients that call me up and say, hey, Jennifer, I want out. I think everybody's telling me I'm listening to so-and-so on this news channel, and I think I should cash out for right now and be out of the market. I say, great. What number do you want to get back in at?
Right.
Okay? If you can tell me what number, when it drops, what number you want to be back in at, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because the market's going to go down, and then it's going to come back up, And if you don't have a plan, if we don't have a plan in place, and say, let's say at the time, let's just say it was 34,000 the Dow or whatever, and it goes down, and it's going to go up, and if you don't have that plan, you're going to keep waiting and waiting, and you're going to miss that upturn of the market. So not only did you lose on the way down, you also lost on the way up. So you're killing yourself doubly on that point.
Right.
And then when I talk to them about that, they go, yeah, let's just keep it in the market. I mean, I've never had anybody say pull it out after we have that conversation, because when they start to realize that, I won't know when to come back up, and it is going to go back up, they start to kind of relax a little bit, and,
One of the greatest emails I think I've ever sent, and I've saved it. I love it. I look at it all the time because it was a client that wanted to get out of the market during COVID. His friend was a doctor. The next wave is coming, all that kind of stuff. Market was already down something like 25, 30%. And I said to him, the market's going to go down a little bit further, and you're going to think, man, I'm so much smarter than Chris. And then it's going to rebound a little bit, and you're going to go, my doctor friend still says the next wave is coming, so you're going to wait. Then it's going to go up a little bit more, and you're going to go, wow, I'll wait for the next pullback, and then I'm going to get back in. And then it goes up a little bit further, and then you're going to start to get mad, and then it's going to go up a little bit further, and then you're going to realize that you made a horrible mistake. And he said, no, my friend's a doctor. I see what's going on right now. Market's going way lower. Get me out of the market. So he cashed out. And the market did exactly what literally to the number,
but
exactly what I told him.
Convince him to stay in.
He was mad at me because I didn't fight harder to keep him in the market. Right.
Hindsight.
But that is the thing, is that sometimes it is almost so predictable that if people would just listen, calm down, relax, have a little bit of faith, there's so much opportunity there.
I'll tell you a story. I had a client who wanted me to get into Delta when Delta was going bankrupt, and it was at like 40 cents a share, and then it was going down, and he's like, you need to get me into Delta. I'm like, you don't want to go into Delta. It's going bankrupt. They're going through the court system. No, we're not going to do Delta. No, we should do it. I convinced him not to go into it. I get a phone call one day, and he's yelling at me, can you believe this? Delta's at $20 a share. It's at $20 a share. I'm like, I'm not going to say the client's name. Sir, I said, with all due respect, it's actually a new stock symbol. Everything went bankrupt, and they opened up a new stock symbol for it and started it up again. You would have lost everything. And then he went, oh, okay. But like,
never mind, forget I
called you. But it's like we watch, we know what's going on. We understand the bankruptcy market. We understand what's going on out there. And it's that's why we're here. We're here to take care of our clients in their best interest, but also do it in a comfortable way. In all honesty,
for sure.
And sometimes, like in that situation, he was getting a little maybe greedy, trying to hopefully to get something that was not really there to get. But I was not going to put him into a situation that was going to harm him.
Right.
That's for sure.
So let's talk that advice thing. So greatest piece of advice you've ever given somebody. Let's hone it into today's environment. Would it be the same piece of advice, or is there something today with what's going on in this world right now that you would say is the greatest piece of advice that you're giving to your clients currently?
Oh gosh, you mean besides forget the noise?
Well, so maybe that's the same. Maybe it is just it's continuing to forget the noise.
It's gotten crazy. Great example is I go online and I do some of my own little reels, to teach people about finance, and it's a lot of fun to do. But then on the counter side, I see people who are saying, don't use a financial advisor. It's costing you a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Don't, the money you can save in fees, that could grow your money. And, it's sad that people are listening to this, because every person who has been successful in a job they've done has a coach for whatever it is. If you're an athlete, you have a coach. If you're an Olympic athlete, you're the top of your game. You don't say, sorry, I don't need a coach anymore. I know what I'm doing. You still have one by your side. Steve Jobs, Serena Williams, people have business coaches, they have life coaches, they have people. You go to doctors for a reason. You don't go, I'm going on google.com and I'm going to find out, what my ailment is, and there's 12 different choices. I'll pick one and hopefully it's the right one. Right. Well, with picking stocks, mutual funds, fixed income, you're not going to look through 12 and go, well, I guess I'll pick one and hope for the best. That's why you have a coach. You have somebody who is going to plan for you and make sure that you're being taken care of properly and have that plan. And we have a lot of coaches in our lives. We have our trusted advisors. We have our CPAs, our financial advisors, our doctors, our lawyers, our insurance agents, whatever it will be. We have certain advisors that we trust. And we have and it's okay to have multiple advisors. That's important. We're about to have the Super Bowl, and they don't even just have one coach. They have your main coach, right? The head coach. They have an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator. They've got a special teams coach. They have an assistant coach that deals with the quarterback. I mean, there's so many coaches just on this one team. And nobody says we don't need coaches anymore because we're elite athletes. They don't. And we deal with we're not a job, we're a profession. And what the difference between a job and a profession is that we have continuing education, that we make sure that we're on the button of what's going on in the market and how to take care of our clients. And I'm sorry, but when we all have full-time jobs, it's really hard for me to go research what a lawyer does or what a CPA does. And we're extremely valuable because they can all tell you what to do, but if you don't have your money if you don't have your money invested properly for you, if you're not saving, forget even investment. We want to talk about budgeting and saving. That's the most important thing. And if you don't have that going on and you don't have somebody coaching you, advising you how to do that and how to make sure that you're doing it right and you're on the right path, you don't have time to really do that in your everyday day life the way we do it. And we're there to create that plan for you and make sure that you're successful.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, though, with the key word there is plan. Mm-hmm. So I think where people get caught up in this, should I pay versus should I not pay, is there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that's why we're here, right? Prosperitas Financial, right? The kind of the core of the belief system of why this place was created, right, was because so many people are looking at it purely from what some of the others in our field do, which is they're what I call asset gatherers. They really just want to gather your assets. They want to put it into investments. And in today's world, the technology is there for clients to kind of go to some of these other services and just put their assets into a cookie cutter portfolio. And some of these advisors are doing the same thing. They take their money in and they put it in a cookie cutter portfolio. When you compare those, you're like, well, why am I paying this advisor if he's going to put me in a cookie cutter portfolio when I can just go put myself in a cookie cutter portfolio? But it's the planning that sets us apart, right? It's you and I have the ability to save people more money in taxes than our fees just through active tax planning. Right. We can save their money in the long term by being organized and having a well thought out plan, having a good budget in place, understanding how to eliminate maybe toxic debt within there, understanding how to buy and sell real estate efficiently, understanding how to protect their family through life insurance and disability insurance, how to make sure their kids go to the right college and they get the scholarships and grants that are right for them through college planning, and having all those different pieces that we bring to the table here at Prosperitas, and just being a well-rounded financial planner like yourself is really what sets us apart and why it's totally different. And where I see the issue with a lot of people that think, why am I paying this fee to this guy to just take my money and put it in this cookie cutter portfolio, where we provide all these other planning services and really optimize their financial life in a way that most don't. And then, oh yeah, we manage money really well also and outperform a lot of what those cookie cutter portfolios look like. But that's just a piece of the pie, right? There's so much more that we bring to the table to justify why it's so important to work with somebody like us. And so many times I sit down with a client and go, look, this is what you paid for my services. This is how much I've saved you in all the other things that we've done that have made your life better because of it. So there's so much value there that I don't think they get from some of the other advisors in this
Real
business.
quick, I had a client, I spoke to them today, and we were talking about, there may be some money coming to them, and if that money comes to them, she said, and then we'll just pay everything off. And I said, whoa, hold on a minute. Before you do anything, let's first look at each individual item we're talking about and make sure you're doing it the best way possible. Because a lot of times when people get money, they'll just pay down their debt, and then they'll accumulate more debt. And they're in the same boat that they were before. And of course, I'm all about paying down your debt, but I didn't want to do it smartly. I had another client who was going to buy a car, and they were going to pay 2.99% in interest. And I'm like, great, well, just in a money market alone, we can get you more money than that. So you'll actually make money, and we'll still pay each month that payment for you.
Absolutely.
We'll make sure that it goes directly to you, get that money each month, but you're making money on your money instead of just throwing it away. So, because they wanted to just put a lump sum down on the car. And I'm like, wait a minute, let's be smart about this. And so that's what it's about. It's about making sure we can pay down that debt, accumulate assets for the clients as they're growing their wealth. And then when it comes to retirement, a lot of people just think the day I sign that retirement, I'm off, that, oh my God, the market stops. I have to be in this certain position, and I have to make sure the market doesn't move at all. That was great, 30, 40 years ago when you were going to die 2 years after retirement. But now if you live another 10, 15, 20, 25 years into retirement, you have to make sure that you're still having that money work for you. And so you have to do that with a good, safe balance. And, a lot of people who try to do it on their own, they don't know how to do it, and they mismanage their money. And then they end up in a situation where they have to move in with their family, or they lose their home because they just didn't understand that the market, they need to still be active in the market in a much safer way than the accumulation phase, but you still need to be in it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a client who said, I only need to make sure I have enough money until I'm 55 because both my parents died around 55, so that's when I'm going to die. And
I've heard that before.
I'm like, no.
It's not going to work.
I would be doing you a disservice if we planned for that. Yes. So on your 55th birthday, we'll go out for lunch or something like that to celebrate that you're alive and that you have the money to continue on with life.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's looking at all those different details that sets us apart as advisors, and just, looking at their car loans and their mortgages. There's just so much to look at. It's so much more than just what the accounts are doing, and then guiding them every step of the way.
Right.
Right until really transferring assets to the next generation. I mean, I'm going through that I have a meeting right after this with the son of one of my clients that she passed away, and he inherited her money, and now he's my client, and I'm guiding him towards what to do with this newfound money that he has, and helping him figure out how to send his kids to college and plan, and all the things that my client spent years telling me is what she wanted to see done with the money, and now we're guiding the next generation. And with that money, it's very rewarding, but it's so much more than just, here, let me put your money in this investment account over here. These are relationships. These are people. I grew to love that client. That client is part of my family, and now I'm helping her family and fulfill the wishes that she had during her life. It's just, there's so much more to these advisory relationships than just putting your money into some investments.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a client tell me that, he pretty much lives in his townhouse, and do I have enough money to fix it up to the way I've always wanted to fix it up? And I looked at it, we did a budget, and I said, yeah, absolutely, go for it. And I joke with him, don't be so cheap on yourself. Like, take care. You have the money. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. And so he went and he created this dream townhouse, And he had recently, not that long ago, went on vacation to Hawaii, and I said, "So where's your next vacation?" He goes, "I'm not going anywhere. I love this place. I'm just so happy being here and enjoying it with my dog and having a great time. And I'm inviting people in for dinners and things like that." And he's happy. And on another note, he was actually quite sick, and one of his neighbors said, "You should go to the hospital." And he goes, "Okay, I thought about driving myself to the hospital, but then I remember Jennifer saying, 'Don't be so cheap.'" And, I joke around with him about that. And he goes, "And I took the ambulance, and it saved my life. It actually saved my life. I would have had my gallbladder explode, and I would have had, died. They said if I was 5 minutes later, I wouldn't have made it."
Wow.
So so you want to talk to your clients that way. I have another client whose parents have passed away. The mother recently passed away last year, and they're very well off now. And I said, where would your dream home be? Go out and maybe look at buying a house in Hawaii if that's what you want, instead of thinking about the house that's just sitting there empty because you don't want to, you don't want to go there, but there's nothing in there. There's no furniture. There's nothing. Go buy something in Hawaii. Enjoy life, and then you can cheer your family, cheer your mom, cheer your dad for having your family all together and having these great experiences together. I mean, that's what life's about. So a lot of times, you hear the financial, they're once you give them your money, they don't want you to take it out. It's like, that's not true. It's your money to do with what you want. It's our guidance and our plan that's going to make you have that success. But yes, of course, it's always your money, and we want to make sure that you're enjoying life.
Right. Very true.
Yeah.
Well said. All right, so a couple more questions for you. First one, what would you say is one of the main reasons that you decided to join us here at Prosperitas Financial?
Okay, so it's kind of interesting because for a while I was working by myself at home, and it was nice, but I was dealing with the compliance, and which to me, I'm an advisor. I like dealing with people. I don't like dealing with compliance. So that was one thing that just bogging me down. Dealing with the annual state filings that I had to do. It took the joy out of being a financial advisor. And then, so that was one thing, knowing that, Prosperitas takes care of all of that. I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with the state anymore. That's on you. I can really enjoy my clients more.
It's on Mark, not me.
On Mark, right. But I can enjoy my clients more. I could, go out and get more clients. I have that freedom to do that. And then, practice what you preach, right? It's one thing when I'm younger and single and building up my business, and you don't necessarily think about, what if something happens to you, which, I always thought of because my father died when I was 12, so I always was, what if something happens to me? But not knowing exactly how I wanted to go about a succession plan, and then meeting with Prosperitas and knowing that, I can take care of my family if, I choose to retire, if, I pass away or, have a disability. And knowing that, my family's taken care of, but also my clients are taken care of, because being a sole practitioner, it really, what would have happened? It would have poofed into the Schwab system, and they would have been safe until they found another advisor. But knowing that, the relationships here that I have, and that I trust, that they'll be taken care of, and that's important to know, because it's important to know that the clients are taken care of, and also my family.
Yeah,
and then I can sleep at night.
Right, I like it. Yeah, I agree, because you don't know who that next advisor might be, and having somebody that is going to take care of your clients is important. Because our clients are important to us, right?
Absolutely.
They're part of our family.
Yes,
and then
they are.
Obviously, family's an easy one. We want to make sure they're taken care
right.
of. Well, we at Prosperitas are thrilled that you are with us. We love you. We think you're a fabulous financial advisor. We look forward to many, many years of working with you and your clients, and just really excited that you decided to join us. Not everybody decides to join us, and the ones that do, we're just really lucky to have them, and you in particular, because it's been just such a good relationship, and we're just looking forward to many years of that. So
thank you. Well, it's a great culture here, and that's important because anything anything that I've needed or asked for, you and Mark have jumped on it, which has been fantastic. And usually, you don't have something like that anywhere else.
We try.
That I've found.
Well, we try because we love you guys. We want you to be successful. We built this place. Again, kind of backtracking. Kind of already know the story, but for those listening, part of the reason I was about to hit my 20-year anniversary in this business, and I wanted to figure out where I wanted to go. And one of the main goals of starting this place was to help other advisors. I had done a great job for 20 years of helping clients, but I wanted to help other advisors be successful, and so we feel blessed for the ones that have joined us, and we're looking forward to jumping on things and trying to give you guys everything you possibly need to be successful in the future and do a really great service for your clients.
Yeah, and it's been great because it's a nice mix where it's like I still have Brown Investment Management, but it's a Prosperitas Financial Corporation, which is so important. So it does let me have my own baby, and but also be part of a great team.
Absolutely,
which is nice.
Absolutely. So you ready for the challenge?
Oh God. Yeah, here's the challenge. Here we go.
All right, so like I said, for those watching, listening, whatever it may be, we're going to do a bunch of these. We're going to bring all of our advisors on. We're going to bring our staff on, strategic partners. I really want to introduce you to the whole team. As you can see, Jen is fabulous, and so getting to know each and every one of them. If you're interested in working with Jen, please contact our office. Our main line is 661-255-9555 is our phone number here at the office. So reach out to us and get in contact with Jen if you want to explore working with her. But I'm going to ask everybody these same questions, and I'm going to give a point score to each of the questions. And then whoever gets the highest point score at the end of these series of podcasts, I am going to give them an award, a prize of some kind, and I'm keeping that part a secret, but it's going to be good. It's a good prize. So you have to give me some answers here, and I'm going to write them down because I need to remember them. So the first question is, at the end of this year, where do you think the S&P 500 is going to finish?
Well, first of all, I think it's going to be volatile. I mean, I actually was somebody who didn't think we were going to have a recession last year. And I got lucky, and I was right. But so I think that, you said the S&P 500?
Yep.
I think it's going to be at 5436.
Okay. And then what about the NASDAQ?
15976.
15976. And the good old Dow Jones?
4280.
42
80.
80? And then your favorite one?
Oh, my favorite one. Okay, so let me just preface this by this is not who I'm not saying who I'm voting for. So this is not a political, sponsorship in any which way. But the way things are going now, and things can change because
I haven't even asked the question
yet.
Okay,
yeah, ask the question.
Who is going to be the next president?
Okay, so again, in what I'm seeing right now, and that could change because there's so much going on with international unrest and as well as national unrest. And right now, it looks like Trump is the leader.
You guys heard it here. Trump's going to win the election. All right.
Currently.
According to Jen. So, Robert, got anything to throw in here? You want to close us out?
Like I said, when we started this thing, I'm applying one of the lessons I learned in a previous episode, and that was you can't learn anything if you're the one talking. So I've been sitting here just patiently listening to two very bright individuals and financial professionals battle it out, talk about a lot of important things. The one thing I heard you say, Jennifer, that I want to make sure we highlight, because it's becoming so popular for a financial education resource, you're recording reels. Where can we find these reels?
Okay, so it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram and TikTok under Brown Investment Management.
Love it.
Management.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check them out. They're good.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and get to see the fam in there too, right?
Yeah, I do like to show the family a lot and some of the fun things that we're doing out in the world because I think, you know, we're dealing with life-work balance all the time. And if you want to really get to know the people and trust the people you work with, you have to know what they're about.
And your kid is adorable, so he sells the reels the most, right?
I
He probably
mean,
gets the most likes, I imagine.
I think he does. I think the one we did with him, like playing guitar out in the world,
There you go.
is one of the highest hit ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Go check out Jennifer Brown at Brown Investment Management on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Jennifer, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Advisory services offered through Prosperitas Financial, an investment advisor registered with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This material is not intended as an offer or solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security or other financial instrument. Past performance does not guarantee future performance. All the views expressed are those of Prosperitas Financial and do not offer tax or legal advice.